Very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. This is the last edition of the show for the week. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
It's great to have you join us again. I'm Tayo Salah.
All right, let's start with news making the rounds from this part of the world. And we go to the English Premier League. Super Eagles forward, Super Eagles winger, Chelsea wingback Victor Moses rescued the Blues in the English Premier League and scored the winner against Burnley. And of course, the chase continues for that fourth UEFA Champions League spot.
Right, the chase continues, and thanks to Victor Moses, Chelsea are still in that particular race. Also on the show this time, we'll leave football and we're going to talk about tennis, and it's all about the Monte Carlo Masters. And Djokovic, former world #1 Novak Djokovic, has bowed out in the round of 16 after losing to Austrian Dominic Thiem. Yeah, I mean, we said it was going to get tougher for Novak Djokovic. It looks like he didn't manage to pass his test.
Yeah, he didn't pass this one. But he has one or two more auditions before the French Open, so we'll see what happens. We'll see. He was able to play 2-3 matches. We'll see. But that elbow, we keep talking about that elbow. Maybe that's the reason why some of this is happening.
Perhaps. Too bad for Novak Djokovic. Also on the show, this time from tennis to basketball, to the basketball courts, the NBA playoffs, and the Golden State Warriors are just one win away from reaching the semifinals of the Western Conference after they defeated the San Antonio Spurs by 110-97 in Game 3. So they've won Game 1, 2, 3 now, just one more, and they will be through to the semifinals. And this is where we start the show from. It was always going to be difficult for San Antonio. I mean, you said it yesterday as well, too, considering everything that is going on around our side, on the court and off the court. Greg Popovich, the coach, very, very sad times for him and his family right now. He couldn't even manage the team on the night for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, yes.
Right, so them going on to lose this game, not a surprise for a lot of people.
At 2-0 was difficult enough.
Yeah,
then throw in what was going on in the court, 2-0 down, then the other issues. I mean, but it's always difficult at 3-0, but impossible is nothing. This is sport. But then again, against Golden State Warriors, I don't know. But we'll see. A lot of distractions. Not making any excuse for San Antonio Spurs. No. They finished 7th in the regular. So second against 7th. It was always going to be.
It was always going to be tough. Exactly. Especially with the star player Kawhi Leonard still missing now with injury. Let's get confirmation of the results of the games that were played early this morning, Nigerian time. We talked about the Warriors defeating the San Antonio Spurs by 110-97 already, and that series is now 3-0 in favor of Golden State. In that game, Kevin Durant top scored for the Warriors, scoring 26 points and grabbing 9 rebounds, as well as dishing out 6 assist. And we said earlier, Greg Popovich didn't coach this particular game for San Antonio because he's chosen to be with his family in this very difficult period. The assistant coach stepped in, tried to do his best, but obviously not good enough. Elsewhere, the 76ers and the Miami Heat faced off, and the 76ers won this one 128-108, and this means they now lead the series by 2-1. Cameroonian center Joel Embiid made his playoff debut, and it was a smashing success.
Yeah, he was, and he got on the court, got the job done for his team. 23 points.
Wow.
And on the night, it was the star attraction.
Right.
Darius Saric as well got 21 points. But I think most of the weight was on Joel Embiid.
Wow.
And
he delivered.
That's what matters most. Yeah.
Fantastic play. And to this one, we've been talking about this one for a while now, Yemi, about the upsets a lot.
In
right
the
from the first time in the making. Then it's getting ever closer now. The New Orleans Pelicans, they went back home after winning 2 away from home at the Moda Center. They went back home to New Orleans, and they went on to defeat the Portland Trail Blazers, 3rd seed in the Western Conference. That game ended 119-102, and as a result of this loss now, Portland are on the brink of elimination, and this one is going to be a big upset if the New Orleans Pelicans can pull it off.
Only few teams have ever clawed back from 3-0. I can remember just a few. So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. And this particular matchup was basically a matchup between two players for the New Orleans Pelicans. It was all about Nikola Mirotic, and who scored 30 points and grabbed 8 rebounds. On the other side for Portland, you had Nigeria's Al-Farouq Aminu scoring 21 points and grabbing 8 rebounds. Not good enough for his side. A lot of fans from Portland will be hoping Al-Farouq Aminu and the likes of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and all those other guys are able to stave off elimination in Game 4. So that's it for the NBA. Action will definitely continue tonight, and we'll bring you tonight and over the weekend, and definitely on our show on Monday, we'll be bringing you more of the results. Also from the basketball courts now, let's go to the tennis court, and it's all about the Monte Carlo Masters. We said it at the start of the show that is the end of the road for Novak Djokovic, former world #1, because I faced up against a player that many regard as the Prince of Clay. Yeah, the Prince of Clay taking on Novak Djokovic, and there was only one winner in this one, although you have to say Dominic Thiem had to really fight to get the victory. You can see the scoreline there, him coming back from a set down to win 6-7, 6-2, and 6-3.
Well, end of the road for Novak. We'll see what happens with the other tournaments. Clay season, you know, a lot of things have to be changed. You have to alter your training methods, you know, prepare your strategy for the surface. And sometimes it looks like maybe only one man is most suited to this surface. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said earlier, it still has 1 or 2 more auditions in the Clay season before the big one. Maybe he can get it right. But then the Prince, whether or not the Prince will be able to upstage the King, we'll see.
We'll get there later.
But this is the Prince, right?
Yeah, that's the Prince. Novak Djokovic, after this particular match, is going on to admit that, okay, it might take a bit of time before it returns to top form.
I want to, you know, be playing the way I've played for so many years, but, you know, obviously, patience is required, and trust in the process, and believe in myself and in my game and people around me. And I really believe that if I continue doing what I'm doing so far, and believing in myself, I know that eventually I'm going to get there.
Yes, former world #1 Novak Djokovic, and just admitting to himself that he might require a bit of patience before he gets back to really being the player we used to know on the ATP Tour. From Djokovic now, let's go and talk about this guy that there's no doubt whatsoever about the way he's playing right now. I'm talking about the King of Clay, undisputed, Rafael Nadal. He's gone through to the quarterfinals after a straightforward and routine victory over Karen Khachanov. This one wasn't in doubt at all, Yanni.
At all. The Russian, I mean, well, in a losing effort, gave his best, tried. But then again, it was an uphill task against the King of Clay, undisputed King of Clay. And the only thing that probably stands in the way of Nadal is Nadal himself, if he gets injured. But then again, I was getting ahead of myself when I was talking about Dominic Thiem. That look, it's beaten Nadal before twice, and but Nadal had the chance to fix it before last year's French Open. So it'll be interesting to see that. But first, let's listen to Rafael Nadal. After the highlights of this, listen to Rafael Nadal, what he had to say about
facing Dominic Thiem.
Yeah,
he's already talking about him.
What could be his nemesis? But we'll wait. Let's listen to Rafael Nadal now. I'll come back for more Sports this morning. All right, welcome back. We'll get to you get to hear him later, but that was how it progressed till the next round, and he'll be coming against. I don't want to start calling him his nemesis, but we'll see.
It's not his nemesis, no chance, because if you look at the head-to-head between Nadal and Dominic Thiem, they've met 7 times, all on clay. It's 5-2 in favor of Rafael Nadal.
Nemesis in the making. He beat him twice, even in
that's in his career. Yeah,
even in his best moments. So you have to take note of that. You know, there was a guy, Lucas Russell, made his name off beating Nadal and didn't do anything after that. But I'm taking this guy seriously. You just called him the Prince. He's doing well, and so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Last year they met 4 times, and Nadal won on 3 occasions, and Tim won just once. So I mean,
it's news when he beats Nadal.
Exactly,
it's news when he beats Nadal.
It is news. All right, come on, only one winner in this one. We'll start pounds out later today.
All right, okay. Let's talk about this man. It was fall from grace for him. Lance Armstrong is back in the news, and of course, you know, trying to just clear the path, clear the way for himself. Find a way to, you know, just settle. He was supposed to pay something as huge as $100 million, but he has found a way to sort it out by paying $5 million. You know, that he defrauded the sponsors all the years while he was winning. They said that money didn't actually belong to him, and a massive lawsuit was actually supposed to pay huge. But he found a way, after his confession and all that, found a way to get himself out by paying $5 million. We'll see what happens, whether some other people will come up with lawsuits. But this one seems sorted. Yeah,
it seems sorted. I mean, in this particular case, this one here puts a lot of doubt in people, in fans generally, about athletes. When Lance was on top of his game, 7th Tour de France, and it was such a big star, and no one thought that it was actually, you know, doping, which has been proven.
And the painful part was, while those accusations were coming, there were people that he sued for defaming him.
Denied everything.
You know, and got paid and all that, only for him to, you know, come back years after and confess. It's painful. And, you know, there was a line that he dropped some years ago. It says it's almost impossible to have a cycling champion that has not spiked the system. And that brings us back to what you just said about, you know, the huge doubts. When you see a winner with what is happening to one of the guys currently on the scene now. So it brings a lot of doubt. But we'll see where that leaves us. But Armstrong off the hook for now.
Yeah, just for now. We'll see, definitely. Let's move on quickly. We're still talking racing, but we're talking racing marathon now. The London Marathon is just this weekend, and according to the organizers, it's going to be the hottest one on record. And usually when the conditions are that serious, and you think the athletes might struggle a bit, but these guys are all top professionals, top marathoners, and I believe they will obviously have you know, come up with a strategy on how they're going to attack this particular race. And I'm looking forward to this one because it's a very packed field that involves Mo Farah, Ken Bekele. You can go on and on like that.
Eliud Kipchoge, Daniel Wanjiru. I mean, a lot of top you know, runners in that one. So let's listen to the guys. They're preparing, they're talking. Some of them even talking about Mo Farah. But let's listen to, you know, their plans. And speaking ahead of the London Marathon that's going to go down this weekend.
So it is the warmest on record. There is a context that it is slightly warmer than we have had previously. We have this advice going out from our medical director, just wanted to let everyone know that was the current situation. In terms of some of the detail that we are sending to the runners, that information is led with run according to the conditions.
From 6 marathon, 7 marathon, you know, only good result. I have 2 good results. Of course, I'm not happy, you know, when you calculate, you know, the marathon I ran and achievement was not balancing. So, of course, because of injury, now my injury was, you know, gone. So I prepared well, you know, for this race.
My season has been really good, and my training actually doesn't need to be tested, doesn't need me to have a race in Europe or America or anywhere to test my body. So the training is fully actually testing my body.